going on, everybody? Welcome to a special Wednesday edition of 4th and 25 with Jrams. I'm your host, Jram. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon, a good day. Stay cool out there and don't get dehydrated and try to beat that heat as best as you can. Stay out of the sun as much as you can. Alright, guys, the reason we're on today, I kind of Saturday forgot to put a little part into my show that I was going to do. So I decided to do y'all a show today to kind of get used to it because we're going to be swapping to Wednesdays as we get closer to the college football season. Alright, so on today's show we got a few things and we got a lot to get to, so let's get rolling, shall we? Alright, so first things first, little realignment talk for those who like realignment. There's some who are sick of it. I understand that feeling. But we officially have the Pac-12 move official. It's the Texas State Bobcats are joining the league and giving them 9 members, 8 football. There's your map of the new Pac-12. You've got Gonzaga, you got Wazoo, you got Oregon State, you got Boise State, Fresno, San Diego State, Utah State, Colorado State, and the Texas State Bobcats. Raise your hand if you ever thought you'd see Texas State in a conference with Oregon State. Not me. But anyway, this is the new Pac-12 layout starting July 1st of next year. I'm excited for Texas State. I think this is really cool for them. But hey, for all of you out there who are laughing at this and making fun of this league, you're entitled to do what you want. But I give them credit. At least they're trying to save the conference. And I think it'll be a solid G6 league in football, and I think it could be solid in basketball too. But anyway, that's your new Pac-12. So let's get to the main reason that I'm doing this show today. Today we're going to break down some NFL schedules. We were going to do the AFC North on Saturday, but in the NFC North, but like I said, some stuff kind of came up, and then I kind of forgot to add it to the show because I'm an idiot some days. But anyway, let's get started, shall we? We are going to look at the AFC North first. We're going to start with, I think, the team we all expect to be at the bottom of the division. Cleveland, the Browns. So, week 1, let's look at the first month, shall we? That's pretty brutal. You got Cincinnati at home, then you're headed to Baltimore, Green Bay at home, and headed to Detroit. Yikes! Oh, what a first month that is. And then that second month, you got Minnesota coming in, you're at Pittsburgh, Miami coming in, and then at New England. That first 6 weeks is definitely brutal. And then who knows what Miami's going to be. And I think New England's going to be improved with the O-line, and Drake May, I think, is only going to get better. So then there's your bye. You got an early bye week. Let's see, week 9. And then after you come off your bye week, you're going to New York to play the Jets. Then you got the Ravens coming in. You head to Vegas to play the Raiders. Then you got a couple of home games with the Niners and Titans. Who knows? And then you got to go to Chicago, and then you close out with Buffalo and Pittsburgh at home, and then at Cincinnati. Interesting start with the Bengals. Good with the Bengals. But yeah, this is the layout for Cleveland. Like I say, I don't think this team is going to be near playoff contention. Who knows how dysfunctional they might be. But that first 6 weeks, though, like I touched on, was pretty brutal. And then that close with Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati would be tough too. But that's what the Cleveland Browns are looking at for this upcoming NFL season. And by the way, guys, it's July 2nd. We're 29 days to the first preseason game for those of you who watch preseason. Got the Hall of Fame game on July 31st, Chargers and the Lions. All right, so that's Cleveland. Now we're going to move on, and let's look at the Bengals, the team that spends a bunch of money on offense but won't spend a bunch of money on their defense that they need to. So they're going to open up at Cleveland, and then you've got Jacksonville at home, at Minnesota, at Denver, Detroit, and at Green Bay. That's your first 6. There's a chance to start out. There's a good chance you could start out good in the first month, but Detroit, Green Bay on the road. After the Green Bay trip, you've got a Thursday night game. By the way, the Denver game's a Monday night game. After the Green Bay trip, let's see. You got Pittsburgh, a Thursday night game. Then you got the Jets coming in, the Bears coming in. Those are easily winnable games. You got a bye week. Then you're at Pittsburgh. Who knows? New England. New England beat them last year, I believe. And then you got Baltimore on Thanksgiving at Baltimore. That's a night game. I think NBC's carrying that game. At Buffalo, Baltimore, at Miami, Arizona, and Cleveland. Like I say, if the Bengals just knew how to spend money on defense and didn't spend it all on their offense, maybe they would. I would feel better about them as a team that could win this division. But I don't trust that situation. But anyway, let's backtrack. Like I say, Cleveland and Jacksonville, good chance to start 2-0. Minnesota, you don't know what you're going to get there. Very winnable. There's a good first month there for the Bengals to start hot. But then, of course, like I say, Detroit and Green Bay could be very tricky. But heck, even if you start 4-0 and drop those two, you could easily be looking at 7-2 when you go into that bye week. And then there's some tough ones and some manageable ones to close out. That last 3 weeks at Miami, Arizona, and Cleveland, if the Bengals are good in playoff contention, they'll be in good shape, I think. But we'll see what happens with that defense. All right, next up, let's take a look. We're going to head to the Steel City, and we're going to look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have Aaron Rodgers now. I still can't believe that. It's crazy. But, hey, it is what it is. Maybe he'll be a good veteran presence for this 1 year. So anyway, here's what the Steelers are looking at. They're going to open up at the Jets, ironically. Aaron Rodgers' old team. So Steelers at the Jets, week 1, very winnable. You got Seattle coming in. You're at New England, and then Minnesota in a really early bye week, week 5, as a matter of fact. So that first month, I don't know what Seattle's going to be like, but very manageable. Nobody does. I don't want to say it like that, but very manageable first month. After your bye week, you got some divisional foes. Cleveland at home, at Cincinnati. Then you got Green Bay coming in. By the way, yeah, Sunday night game with Green Bay too, by the way. Got the Packers coming in. Then you're at Indy. You got a trip to the Chargers. That's going to be an interesting one. That'll be tough. You got Cincinnati and at Chicago, winnable. You got Buffalo coming in. That's going to be tough. At Baltimore, of course. For those of you who follow the NFL rivalries, Baltimore and Pittsburgh is one of the best ones in my opinion. Then you got Miami coming in, at Detroit, at Cleveland, and then of course you close with Baltimore again. So we'll kind of backtrack here just a little bit. But like I say, very manageable first month. You can get Cleveland, but then that next 5 weeks, 2 games with the Bengals. You got Green Bay coming in, who's a playoff contender. I don't think the Colts are a playoff contender. And then, of course, the Chargers game, that'll be tough. At Chicago, that's winnable. Buffalo's going to be tough. At Baltimore, it's going to be tough. Miami's winnable. I think the Detroit trip will be tough. Even though Lions might take a small step back this year. We'll see. And then at Detroit and then Baltimore. Let's see what happens with Rodgers. I think the defense can keep them in games. But Steelers have a chance to be a wild card team, but we'll see what happens. So that's what the Steelers have. Now we're going to shift over to, and I don't want to get too early on preseason picks here, but I'm going to go on to the team that I expect to win the AFC North. I think most of us probably will. And that is the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't know where I got this graphic. I wish I got a better one, but oh well. This is the Baltimore Ravens schedule. It's kind of hard to see it, but week 1, a huge game on Sunday night at Buffalo. That's going to be a dandy. Can't wait to see that game. Then you got Cleveland, very winnable. You got Detroit on Monday Night Football. That's going to be good. Of course, at Kansas City, that's going to be fun. Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. Come on, man. And then you got Houston, and then you got the Rams. Whew. So that's your first 6 games before your bye. That's pretty tough, but like I say, this is a Super Bowl contending team, so they'll be ready for it. But that is a brutal first 6 weeks. I'll go through it one more time. At Buffalo, Cleveland, Detroit, at KC, Houston, and the Rams. If they come through that 5-1, we're really talking about a legitimate Super Bowl contending team, and I think they are anyways. Then you've got, off your bye week, you got winnable games with Chicago, at Miami, at Minnesota. That'll be interesting. At Cleveland. That's a very, very manageable month. Then you've got the Jets. You got the Thanksgiving game with the Bengals. You got the Steelers. At Cincy. Winnable game with New England. And you close with 2 road games. At Green Bay and at Pittsburgh. Those will be tough. Ravens got a pretty tough schedule, but they're expected to be one of the best teams in the league, so we'll see how they handle it. But this is what the Ravens face this coming season. That's going to be very interesting. All right, so we are going to move on and move over to the NFC North. And we're going to take a look at the NFC North teams. We're going to start with the bottom of the barrel, I guess, the team that's been at the bottom for here recently. Let's look at the Chicago Bears. We'll see how Caleb Williams does in his second year in the system. So here's what the Bears open up with. They are the Monday night game in Week 1, hosting Minnesota, divisional foes. Then another divisional game at Detroit. Have fun with that. You got Dallas coming in. Who knows? You're at Vegas. So, and another team with an early bye week, just like Pittsburgh, but crazy. Early bye week, but it's what it is. So, Bears have a manageable first month. If they could get through that at 2-2, I think that would not be bad for them. But if they come through 3-1, you're gonna have people's eyebrows raising, or they could be 0-4 for all we know. Off the bye week, you got Washington. Hey, remember what happened when these two played last year? That Hail Mary finished that the Commanders won. So, who's looking forward to that again? And that's a Monday night game too at DC. You got New Orleans coming in Week 7. Then you got back-to-back trips to Baltimore and Cincinnati. Yikes. And then you got the Giants coming in. Who knows? At Minnesota. You got Pittsburgh coming in. And then, road trips to Philly and Green Bay. But hey, as we know, Chicago can handle Green Bay, but we'll see. But that's still 2 tough road games in a row. Then you host Cleveland, and you host Green Bay at San Fran, and then of course you close out with the Lions at home. So, this is what the Bears have to deal with. Manageable in some parts, but brutal in other parts. Can they improve? Absolutely. I'm not saying they're a playoff team by any stretch, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on Chicago. We'll see how much better Caleb Williams is and what he has around him. Alright, so we're going to leave the Windy City, and we're going to head to the Twin Cities. Let me find the Vikings schedule. Where did the Vikings schedule go? Did I misplace it? Here it is. Okay. So here's what the Vikings are looking at this coming season. We'll see how J.J. McCarthy recuperates from his injury. The Vikings open up Monday night at Chicago. I think that's going to be a good game. You've got Atlanta coming in, winnable. Cincinnati coming in, at Pittsburgh and at Cleveland before your early bye week in Week 6. Chance to start good. But then when you come back from the bye week, you've got Philly coming in. Playing the Super Bowl champion Eagles. Have fun with that. And then you're at the Chargers and at the Lions. That's going to be tough. You got Baltimore, Chicago. Best one to split that, I say. And then you're at Green Bay and at Seattle back-to-back weeks. That's going to be tough. You got Washington coming in, at Dallas, at New York, then the Lions again, and then, of course, arch nemesis Green Bay to close out the season. But yeah, this is what the Vikings are looking at. Not a bad schedule by any stretch of the imagination. But we'll see. We'll see if they can get back to the playoffs. I don't expect this to be a 14-3 team again like it was last year. Unfortunately, it ended for them badly in the playoffs, but I think it's going to be tough to duplicate 14 wins. But they got a manageable schedule, though, so we'll see what happens. All right, next up, let's look at the team that surprised a lot of people last year. I think they did really the year before too, but they've improved, and I'm a big fan of Jordan Loves. Let's take a look at the Green Bay Mother 11 Packers, as Tom Grossi would say. Packers open up with Detroit. That's going to be a great game. Then a Thursday night game with Washington. I believe that's at home. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Jordan Love versus Jaden Daniels. Let's go. See who wins that quarterback battle. Trips to Cleveland, and then, of course, at Dallas. That's a Sunday night game. Very, very challenging first month for the Packers, but we'll see. Then they get an early bye week on week 5. Cincinnati's coming in. You got trips to Arizona and Pittsburgh, manageable. And then you got Carolina, very winnable. Philadelphia, that's a Monday night game. That ought to be good, playing the Super Bowl champs. And then you go to New York. You got your first meeting with the Vikings. At Detroit, I believe that's Thanksgiving. Yeah. Chicago, trip to Denver, trip to Chicago. And then you got Baltimore. That's close to Christmas. That's week 17. That ought to be a good game. Possibly could have huge playoff ramifications for all we know. And then, of course, the close at Minnesota. There's some challenging games. There's winnable games. I think wouldn't be shocked if the Packers win the NFC North. And they've got a very good schedule there. Some big games coming up for Green Bay on that schedule. That first month's going to be very fun. It's going to be tough itself. But this is what the cheeseheads are looking at this coming season. All right, next up. Finally, the last NFC North team. Let's take a look at the Detroit Lions, who, I'm not going to lie to y'all, I thought they were going to win the NFC last year, and they laid an egg in the playoffs against Washington. Excuse me. All right, so here's what the Lions are looking at. They open up with a trip to Lambeau, of course, to play the Packers. You got the Bears coming in. You got the trip to Baltimore on Monday night that week. And then, of course, you got Cleveland at home. You got to go to Kansas City. That's going to be tough. Huge Sunday night game. And then on the next week, here, the Monday night game, you got the Bucs coming in. So, and then your bye week is week 8. So, those first 7. Oh, hello. There's some tough ones. And like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Detroit takes a step back this season. I could see them backslide a little bit. But you've got 3 of those games I would feel good about them winning. The other 4, not so much. That's more of a toss-up. But you never know. So that's a pretty challenging first 7. And then when you come back from the bye week, week 9, you're headed to Minnesota, divisional foe. Washington, week 10 at DC. Looks like it's an afternoon game right now. You know the Lions are going to have that one circled since Washington knocked them out of the playoffs last year. Detroit laid a huge egg. I thought they were going to... I say it again. I thought the Lions were the best team in the NFC, but they didn't bring it in the playoffs. So you know they got that one circled. Then you're going to Philadelphia, week 11. Back-to-back road trips. Washington and Philly. That's brutal. And then you're back home to host the Giants. Thanksgiving, of course, host the Packers. Lions always play on Thanksgiving. Thursday night game in Dallas, that could be tricky. No, it's at home. I'm sorry, it's at Detroit. My apologies, guys. Then you're at LA to play the Rams, who I think is the best team in the NFC West preseason-wise. Then you go host the Steelers, at the Vikings, and at the Bears. So that is the Lions' schedule, and there are some challenges on here. This is a very tough schedule. Like I say, when we get to closer to the season and make our picks, I wouldn't be shocked if they do not win the division, and this schedule alone could be a big reason. So that's what the Lions face. All right, guys, we're going to take a first break, and then we'll come back and we will look at the AFC South and the NFC South. Be right back.
Look at me, I'm lost at sea, circling eternally. Come and help me from this insanity. Where my disgrace? I hate to see your face. I wanna see you drown in your sorrow. You know I'm not the same. I'm fading away. I'm falling into my grave.
Alright, guys, welcome back. My apologies, had something in my beard. Alright, guys, welcome back to 4th and 25. we've already looked at the AFC and NFC North schedules. So also we're going to do the South Division. So let's get to it, shall we? We're going to start in the NFC South. We're going to start, and this one pains me because I'm a New Orleans Saints fan. I grew up a Saints fan, but a team that I don't have very high expectations for. Hate to say that, but anyway, let's take a look at New Orleans, shall we? Here is the Saints 2025 slate. You open up with the Cardinals at home. Winnable, but I could see them losing it. Then you host the 49ers. You're at Seattle, at Buffalo. Winnable, losable, who knows? You got the Giants coming in week 5. You got the Patriots coming in week 6. Winnable games. At Chicago, Tampa, trips to LA to play the Rams, and then you're at Carolina before your bye on week 11. So that first 10 is winnable. There's several winnable, and then there's some like I don't think they're going to beat Buffalo by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think they'll beat the Rams. Who knows about the rest of them though. And then your bye week's week 11, and when you come back, you close with Atlanta at home, at Miami, at Tampa, Carolina winnable, New York Jets winnable, at Titans, and at Falcons. The last I saw, even though I think it's crazy to do betting lines already on these games so many months in advance, but this was a while back, the Saints were only favored in one game, and that was against the Jets. I don't think they're going to go 1-16, but the schedule the Saints have right here was voted one of the easiest, but the Saints ain't expected to be one of the best teams in the league either, so who knows? Manageable schedule, but it's going to be, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but hey, you never know. We'll see what happens in the Kellen Moore era in New Orleans. As a Saints fan, I'm excited, but I don't have super high expectations for this season. But that's what the Saints are looking at in 2025. Okay, so let's head over and look at the Panthers schedule for the Carolina Panthers. They open up with a trip to Jacksonville to play Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Then you got to go to Arizona. Then you host Atlanta and go to New England. Not a bad first mark, but who knows? You got to host you got the Dolphins coming in. Then you got Dallas coming in. I think Carolina will be slightly better. They showed some poise toward the end of last season, but I could also see them starting out bad. You're at New York. You got Buffalo coming in. Good luck with that. You got to go to Green Bay. Good luck with that. You got New Orleans coming in, at Atlanta, at San Francisco. They got the Rams, and then you got your bye week. That is going to be, week 14. Okay, so their bye week is week 14. Then you got to, off the bye, you're off to New Orleans and host Tampa, host Seattle, and then play Tampa again in the finale. So, like I say, another team with not real high expectations, but as we know, the NFC South can also be a dumpster fire. So Carolina's got a chance to win some games, but again, they could also lose a lot of games. But this is what the Panthers are looking at for 2025. All right, next up, let's look at a team that I think could be a wild card team, but I still ain't picking them to win the division. Atlanta. Let's look at the Falcons, my arch nemesis as a Saints fan. But I gotta look at their schedule. All right, so week 1, you got Tampa coming in, huge divisional showdown. A tricky game at Minnesota. Then you got to go to Carolina. You got Washington coming in. That's going to be a good game. Then you got a Monday night game hosting Buffalo. Buffalo, you better be careful. I can see the Bills losing this game, but we'll see. You got to go to San Fran. Miami's coming in at New England, at the Colts. Carolina. Got to go to New Orleans, got to go to New York. Host the Seahawks, could be a good game. Got to go to Tampa, that'll probably be a huge one. Tricky game at Arizona, and you host the Rams, and then you close with the Saints at home. Who knows where we'll be by then. But Atlanta, like I said, this is a team that just missed out on the postseason. I think they can take that next step this year and get there. So we'll see what happens there. Like I say, you got a huge divisional clash with Tampa. But you got some winnable games, but you also got some tricky games looking at this slate, especially playing Washington, Buffalo back-to-back weeks. Um, yeah, and then the Cardinals, Rams. Yeah, there's some tricky ones, but Dirty Birds have the potential to get to the postseason. I just don't think they're quite ready to contend for this division, which leads me to a team looking for what their fourth or fifth straight division title, and I think they're going to possibly get it. Let's look at the Bucks, shall we? With Baker Mayfield and company. So here's what the Bucks have. Week 1, yeah, huge game at Atlanta. Atlanta wins that game. Might build some momentum for them. But anyway, Tampa at Atlanta. Week 2, Monday night at Houston. That could be a good game. The Bucks and Texans. That could be fun. You got the Jets coming in. You got the Eagles coming in. Whew, that'll be fun. Then you got to go to Seattle and host San Francisco. Winnable games. Like I said, Seattle's a mystery to me. We'll see what they look like. And then at Detroit, that's a Monday night game, Week 7. Potential playoff matchup. Playoff rematch a couple years ago. At New Orleans, Saints and Bucks always heated. You got a bye week. You got your bye week 9. When you come back, you got New England, very winnable. At Buffalo, that could be a good game. At LA to play the Rams, that's a Sunday night game at the moment. Possible to flex, but at the moment it's a Sunday night game. But that could be a big one. And then you got the Cardinals, that could be good. You got New Orleans again. Thursday night game with Atlanta, that could have division title ramifications by the time we get there. Who knows? At Carolina and at Minnesota, winnable road games, and then Carolina again. So Bucks got some challenges, but when you've won 4 straight division titles, you're gonna get tougher schedules. But I still think they're the team to beat in the division. But this is their schedule for 2025. All right, so our last division for today, we are going to hit the AFC South. We're going to start with the team that had the number 1 draft pick. Let's look at the Titans, shall we? And Cam Ward leading them, I guess, as their quarterback. So they open up at Denver. Yikes. Against Bo Nix and the Broncos, a playoff team. Then you got the Rams coming in. Yikes. Another playoff team. And then you got the Colts coming in. You got to go to Houston. We know that's going to be a challenge. So that first month. Welcome to the NFL, Cam Ward and co. You've got a trip to Arizona. Cardinals, I think, are going to be better. Got to go to Vegas. Who knows what the heck they're going to look like. You got New England coming in. Mike Vrabel against the team he used to coach. That ought to be fun. And then you got to go to Indy for your second week with the Colts. Chargers coming in. That's going to be brutal. Then you got a bye week. Week 10. That's their bye week. Okay. So you got your bye week 10. But then first 9. Holy cow. There are so many games I could see them losing. Then you got your bye. Then you got Houston coming in and Seattle coming in. And then Jacksonville coming in. So you got 3 straight home games. And then you got trips to Cleveland and San Francisco. And then you host the Chiefs. Yikes. Hey, but a few years ago, I think the Titans beat the Chiefs, if I remember correctly. And then you got New Orleans coming in just after Christmas. That's winnable. And then you close with a trip to Jacksonville. Very winnable. Who knows where we'll be by then. But there's winnable games, but there's a lot of tough ones on the schedule for a franchise that's been struggling lately. So we'll see what the Titans look like, though. Here's what they got, though, for 2025. Okay. Excuse me, guys. Next up, let's look at the Jaguars, shall we? I have no idea why they made a picture like this, but that's the team. I guess that's the franchise. So the Jaguars schedule looks like this. In 2025, they open up Week 1 hosting the Panthers, a very winnable game. Then you got the Rams coming in. I'm sorry, the Bengals coming in. I got it crisscrossed. You got the Bengals on the road. That's going to be very difficult. Got Houston coming in. That's going to be tough. San Francisco on the road. San Francisco, obviously, they dealt with a lot of injuries last year, and the free agency market hurt them. They lost several key guys, so maybe it's winnable. I don't know. 49ers are a mystery right now. And then you got back-to-back. Well, I'm sorry, you got 3 straight home games. You got the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the Rams all coming into Jacksonville. That's it's always good to have 3 straight home games, but man, that's a tough 3 game stretch. But then you got your bye week. Then you're on the road to Las Vegas and Houston. Then you got the Chargers coming in. Who remembers a playoff game between those two a few years ago? That was wild. You got a trip to Arizona. That's going to be tough. You got to go to Tennessee, divisional foe. You got the Colts and the Jets coming in back-to-back weeks. Then you got a trip to Denver and Indy. Eesh, and you close with Tennessee at home. Jacksonville can be another team. I think kind of like New England, I could see them better. I don't know how much that reflects in the win-loss category. But remember, they also have a new coach who made an awkward Duval speech. But anyway, this is what the Jags have this coming season. So we'll keep it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Jaguars. All right, next up, we're going to look at the Colts. We don't know who their quarterback's going to be yet. Is Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones? My money's on Daniel Jones, but we'll see. Um, Obviously, they'll be playing on a little heavy heart because their owner passed away this offseason. But this is what their schedule looks like. Week number 1, they host the Dolphins, winnable game. You got the Broncos coming in at Tennessee, at LA for your first month. Then you've got to host the Raiders and Cardinals, a trip to LA to play the Chargers and the Titans coming in. There's some winnable games for them. And then you got to go to Pittsburgh. That's going to be tough. Host Atlanta. That's going to be tough. You got your bye week. Week 12, the Chiefs on the road. Ugh, have fun with that. I don't think they'll win that game, but have fun with that. You got the Texans coming in, and then at Jacksonville, at Seattle. And then the final 3, you've got the Niners at home, the Jaguars at home. Those are winnable, and then close at Houston. The Colts are a team that I've got to do a little bit of looking into, but I don't think they're a playoff team. But they could surprise. So that's what the Colts have. And our final schedule today, we're going to take a look at the team that's been the best team in this division lately. The Houston Texans. And one of my favorite players in the league, C.J. Stroud, leads this team. So here's what they got. In these first 2 games, whew, man, these are tough. You got to go to LA to play the Rams, and then on Monday night you host Tampa. That's 2 really big games and a chance for the Texans to start really hot. The O-line, I think, was a question mark. There's been a little bit of a concern, but we'll see how they look up front. Then you go to Jacksonville, and you got Tennessee, and then at Baltimore. That's going to be tough. I think if they could start 3-2 before that early bye in Week 6, that would be big. 4-1 would be huge. But then Week 6, you got your bye week. Week 7, you are at Seattle. That's going to be an interesting road game. Followed by 3 straight home games that are very winnable home games with the 49ers, Broncos, and Jaguars. Then you're at Tennessee. A huge Thursday night game, possibly Week 12 with the Bills coming in. Very big game. Then you're at Indy, at Kansas City. That's going to be tough. It seems like the Chiefs and Texans now play every year despite being in different divisions, but I ain't going to complain. They usually have good ones. You got the Cardinals coming in, the Raiders coming in, winnable games at LA against the Chargers, and then, of course, the Colts Week 18. If the Texans can fix up a few little things, I think this team's got a great opportunity to be a double-digit win team and get back and make a playoff run. So watch out for Houston. All right, guys, so we're going to take our second break, and then when we come back, I am going to unveil to you guys my personal top 25 stadiums in college football. All right, guys, so with that said, we're going to take another break. We will be back in just a few minutes.
Hey, Andrew.
Alright guys, welcome back. I know you'll see my phone, my apologies. Alright, so, welcome back to 4th and 25. Good show today, good pace. I'm actually surprised how fast I went, but hope you guys are enjoying it. Alright, so, we're done with NFL schedules for this episode. Now, I'm going to unveil to y'all my top 25 favorite college football stadiums. Now, I'm not saying these are the most intimidating stadiums as far as atmosphere. This goes into design, backdrop, scenery. Like we throw in a little bit of the intimidation factor, but they've also got traditions and stuff like that. So, with that said, let's get started. Now, there are a couple of G5 schools that made this list. For those of you who follow my page, the Spread College Football Discussion Group, I've been counting down stadiums since March. I literally counted them down by conference. Like I started with Conference USA and did 12 to 1, and then here recently we just finished up the Big Ten and did 18 to 1. That was 134 days of counting down stadiums. That was crazy. But hey, it makes the off season go quicker, right? Alright, so number 25, just getting in, and there were some tough, good ones that got left out of this. But at number 25, Kip, let me make sure I say this right. At number 25, we are looking at Appalachian State's Kidd Brewer Stadium in Boone, North Carolina. Great college town, I hear. Beautiful backdrop, nice campus. Best stadium in the Sun Belt, in my opinion. And then that tree backdrop. You ought to look at the baseball field, too, by the way. In the fall, this is beautiful in the fall. But great stadium. Alright, number 24. Our other G5 school that we've included, Michie Stadium, the home of Army Black Knights football, right on the Hudson River in West Point, New York. Nice, simple stadium. Now, this stadium is undergoing some renovations and some work right now, so this is an older picture, but from what I understand, it's going to look even cooler once it's finished. But great scenery right by the Hudson River. Another one that I would love to see in the fall when the trees are turning orange and changing color. Alright, number 23. How about the oldest stadium in college football? Number 23. Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, the home of Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket football, even though they seem to play more games at the Falcons Stadium now. But this stadium, 100 plus years old. There's not much left of the original, from what I understand, but because it's undergone obviously numerous renovations and work. But you got the city of Atlanta in the backdrop. Pretty cool stadium. I've liked this stadium. I've always liked this old school stadium. Alright, number 22. How about, in my opinion, the most underrated stadium, most underrated atmosphere in the country? Williams-Brice Stadium, the home of the South Carolina Gamecocks. When they play that, I can't remember the name of it now. They play some song right before the team comes out. It's really cool. But great stadium, great atmosphere, great traditions, great college town. Would love to go see a game here someday. But anyway, number 22, Williams-Brice. Number 21, we're gonna head way up to the Pacific Northwest. Husky Stadium. Husky Stadium, the home of the Washington Huskies. Yeah, their programs took a little step back last year after making the national title game the year before. But you're right there by the lake. Beautiful Northwest backdrop. Very loud atmosphere for big games when the team's really good. Great place. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of a Canadian League stadium, but I still like it. It's really, really cool. Alright, so moving on. We're going to do, and I just realized I'm missing a picture. Tell you what, we'll take a break here in a second and get it. But anyway, at number, I can't believe I missed that. Okay. Alright, at number 20, we're going to go to the Big 12 and look at another stadium. At number 20, where did it go? I just lost it. Hang on, guys. I can't find a picture to save my life. I'm missing a picture. My apologies. Here it is. All right, number 20, Utah. This is Rice Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. This place started to get pretty loud when they were still in the Mountain West and they're in the Pac-12. But another one, I don't quite have the mountains in the backdrop here, but it's a very, very pretty stadium. Very loud atmosphere and great place to watch the game. Teams have struggled here. I've seen USC get beat here. It was really cool. Very cool stadium. All right, at number 19, this one has fallen a little bit because the program isn't quite what it used to be, obviously years ago, but this is still a great stadium. It looks great. It always sells out. Great fan base. Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, the home of the Cornhuskers. The Sea of Red. Man, oh man, this is a great stadium. This is one on my bucket list that I would love to go see a game at. Um, Even though, like I said, the program's been down for a while and they're just now slowly, it looks like, on the way up under Matt Rule. This is a great stadium and I would love to see a game in there sometime. All right, number 18, we're going to go to another state. We're going to head back to the East Coast to the stadium that has the best entrance in college football, period, in my opinion. And it's a great atmosphere, too. Lane Stadium, the home of the Virginia Tech Hokies. If you have never seen the Inner Sandman entrance, look this up on YouTube, guys. This is so cool. This place is jumping up and down. It is rocking when the Hokies come out on the field. Seen some big games there over the years, but great place. Recently just had a Metallica concert that was a pretty big deal from what I understand. Really cool place. All right, so at number 17, we are going to go back to SEC country and look at this one. Oklahoma. We are at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. That is a mouthful. I'll just call it Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. But anyway, here's the Sooners' home. It doesn't look real big, but it's actually bigger, I think, than the pictures give it credit for. But anyway, Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman checks in at number 17. At number 16, we're going to head a little south to the ACC country, and we are going to look at Doak Campbell. I wish that I got a better picture of this one, but oh well. At number 16, another one where the program has backslid a little bit. And of course, they had a really bad season last year, but Doak Campbell Stadium, still a dope stadium. And when the Chief comes out on the horse and puts the flaming spear on the field, that is so cool. And they play Seminole Win by John Anderson. Great, too. Still a wonderful stadium. When Florida State's really good, it's an insane place to watch a game. It's loud atmosphere. All right, so I've got to get a picture real quick that I cannot believe I missed on this thing. But give me just a second and we will get it for you. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. A quick break here real quick.
To hate Andrew Anderson spitting truth that just can't wait. Got a podcast like a punch right to your face. College sports villain taking it over the place. I bring the facts whether you like it or not. Dropping truth bombs, giving it all I got. They call me a villain. Well, I wear that badge with pride. Nothing but secrets they try to hide. I rock in my veins, rebellious to the core. I won't back down, won't take it anymore. The bad guy of the podcast world, that's me. Unleashing the truth, setting it all free. Unleashing the truth.
Alright, guys, welcome back. Apologies for that, but I had to take a quick break for something. Alright, so moving on, we are at number 15 on my top 25 college football. Stadiums countdown. At number 15, Jordan Hare Stadium, the home of the Auburn Tigers. Um, Loud, huge. Seen some crazy Iron Bowls here over the years, and of course Georgia games and several other great games. Anybody, if you remember, this is where the LSU Auburn game happened, where the building caught on fire behind the stadium. That was crazy. You can still find stuff about that on YouTube. But this is a great atmosphere, and when they let the War Eagle fly around the stadium, that's really cool. Something else that I always like. But a great place, great atmosphere. Another one I wouldn't mind going to see a game at, as far as a bucket list goes. Okay, so let's roll on, shall we? At number 14, we are going to head, and this one might be a little low, but that's okay. At number 14, we are going to head to the Lone Star State. Let me find a picture. Here it is. Number 14, to Darrell K. Royal. Let me make sure I say this right. Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium, the home of the Texas Longhorns, right in Austin. At night with the lights lit up. Huge stadium. That end zone with the Texas logo is crazy. But they have put a lot of work into making this a top-notch facility. And to their credit, they've done a great job. But a great place, loud place. And now that Sark has Texas back among the nation's elite, it's gonna get better. All right, moving on. At number 13, this stadium, as far as just backdrop alone, has the best backdrop in college football. I love the backdrop of this stadium. It might look like a simple stadium, but this backdrop. Lavelle Edwards Stadium, the home of the BYU Cougars. This was the number one stadium in my Big 12 rankings, obviously. This is my favorite Big 12 stadium. It has a great atmosphere, passionate fan base. I've actually met a lot of BYU fans because they came to Ole Miss years ago and beat us. But they were awesome. This is a great place, great fan base. Look at that. Those mountains behind it. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. And that Y, there's a Y for the school, the Y logo. It's embedded on one of those mountains. I think it's to the right, but it's a little blurry as far as the screen goes. But love this stadium. I've seen watched so many good games here over the years on especially television. But BYU fans are awesome. This is a great place. And as far as the bucket list goes, this is another one that I would love to go see here and there. Alright. At number 12, a few years ago, if we'd have done this stadium would probably be in the top 10, but I dropped it a little bit. Number 12, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, the Swamp, the home of the Florida Gators. Loud place for a game, great atmosphere. Trust me, I watched Ole Miss lose there last year, and that place was loud. But when Florida's elite, this stadium's probably way higher on this list. But still, phenomenal place. Humidity and heat's brutal there for games, I understand. Being in Florida, it makes perfect sense. But here it is, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at number 12. Alright, so at number 11, just missing the top 10, and is a Florida arch nemesis. Sanford Stadium, the home of the Georgia Bulldogs. Looks like a simple stadium when you think about it, but between the hedges, they've got really cool bushes that go around the bottom part of the stadium. Great atmosphere, great fan base. I've met Georgia fans. I've been around some. They're really cool people. Nice stadium, pretty simple, right there in the heart of campus. Good place to see a game. All right, so let's get to the top 10, shall we? At number 10, the first of the two Death Valleys, even though I think there's only one Death Valley, but anyway, that's just me. Number 10, Clemson. Clemson Memorial Stadium, aka Death Valley as they call it. Huge, loud, great fan base. When the team when the team touches the rock, what's that rock called? Howard's Rock, I believe. And when they run down the hill, pretty cool entrance. I won't put it ahead of Virginia Tech's entrance, but it's still a really cool entrance. at a great place. Great fan base too, by the way. So Clemson checks in at number 10. At number 9, we're going to look at a stadium that's famous for the whiteout. Beaver Stadium, home of Penn State. Huge, huge, loud, great atmosphere. Uh, as you see here, this is the whiteout that they do for the big games. This place can be rocking for huge games, for big games like Ohio State, Michigan, etc. Like when Oregon comes in there this fall, you know it's going to be loud. Very nicely built stadium. It's my understanding there's maybe some more work coming in the future to it. We shall see. But great place to check out a game. All right, at number 8. Another one I might have a little bit too high, but the reason for this stadium being so high is I love the outer design of it. I like the old school look to it. At number 8, Ohio State's Stadium, Ohio Stadium. I love that outer design. It kind of looks like a Colosseum, Roman Cathedral, Roman Colosseum kind of look. I don't know where cathedral came from, but another one, huge, loud, beautiful, beautiful stadium. And when they dot the I for Ohio pregame, really, really cool tradition. Love this. I like this stadium. Not an Ohio State fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I do like the stadium. All right. So moving on, at number 7, Notre Dame. Notre Dame Stadium. This ain't the best picture. This is pre-game form. Touchdown Jesus. I would love to see that in person. This is another place I would love to go see a game on my bucket list, especially in the wintertime when it's cold. But this is Notre Dame Stadium. They've done a lot of work to it over the years. They've added some new press boxes, suites, and stuff like that. I love the simplicity of the field. I wish it was still a natural grass field, but it's okay. Still, great place. Would love to go see a game here. At number 6, just missing the top 5, Neyland Stadium, home of the Tennessee Volunteers, right there on the Tennessee River. Look, their fans can be crazy. Yes, they have thrown objects at my head coach before, golf balls, mustard bottles. But look, all kidding aside, awesome stadium, one of the biggest in America. Huge, huge stadium, loud atmosphere, especially for the big games like Bama and Georgia, etc. On the Tennessee River, you got the Ball and Navy. Awesome stadium. Would love to go see a game there. All right, so we're going to take one more break, and when we come back, we're going to put a wrap on this with the top 5 and one other special little thing to close out on. So excuse me, guys. We will be right back. Alright guys, welcome back, and let's put a wrap on this show, shall we? At number 5 on my stadiums, the Big House, Ann Arbor, Michigan, home of the Michigan Wolverines, 100 plus thousand, great atmosphere. Look at all that yellow. Another wonderful stadium. It's undergone several nice renovations, and it's one of the top in the country. Love this stadium. So that is number 5. At number 4 in the SEC, I call this the big tackle box. But at number 4, Kyle Field, home of Texas A&M, the 12th man. The Aggie Yale, awesome traditions. Great stadium, great fan base. Probably my favorite game I ever remember in the stadium was a few years ago when they beat Alabama, kicked that field goal at the end, and the people stormed the field like crazy when they won that game. Great place. Love the stadium. Great fan base too. Okay, so at number three, for some reason I do not have a picture of this stadium, and I do not know what happened. I've tried to get it, but slowness here with the service. But at number three, I don't have a picture, but it's Autzen Stadium, the home of Oregon. Loudest atmosphere outside of the SEC in the country. Um, Duck fans are cool. I would love to go to the Northwest and see Autzen Stadium someday. Um, there has been rumors, though, it could get renovated or they could get a new stadium. So we'll see what happens there. But Autzen Stadium's number three. Sorry, there's no picture for that one, guys. At number two, the home of the Tide, Bryant-Denny Stadium at the University of Alabama. Beautiful, beautiful stadium again. Nicely built. Would love to go here and see a game too. Awesome stadium. Great traditions, good fan base. I have been through Tuscaloosa a few times, several times, but I've never been to this stadium. Would love to go see a game here. Alright, finally, my number one stadium in college football. My personal favorite. I've been to this one for a couple of games. Or is it? I think just one. I've been there before. I've been there to a game, and there is no atmosphere, in my opinion, like this, especially night games. It is also the most intimidating. Like I say, if I do ever do a most intimidating list, this would be my number one stadium. But I've been here. Fans are crazy, but they're awesome. It has the best food. Number one, my favorite stadium, Tiger Stadium. The home of the LSU Tigers. This place, I mean, if you remember, there was a game in the 80s against Auburn. The crowd was so, or was it 80s or 90s? But anyway, the crowd was so loud, it caused an earthquake, guys, that registered. But this place is amazing. The fans are incredible. Trust me, I watched my team lose there last year in overtime when Ole Miss lost. But anyway, great fans. There is no stadium in the country like this, in my humble opinion. So, that is my top 25 stadiums, guys. Alright, so we're going to close the show with our non-football subject, and then we'll do a Bible verse, and we'll head out. Alright, so for today's non-football subject, I am going to give you the five countries, my top five countries, that I would like to visit someday on a vacation or a trip, whatever you want to call it. Number five is a country that I actually have one of their flag. I have a flag, their flag, and I know some people from there because I work with some of them. At number five, the nation of South Africa. Capital city, Cape Town. With a good population, but that is where they have some great coastal communities. Like I say, I know people from there because I've worked with some good folks. Would love to see South Africa someday. At number four, Australia. The nation of Australia, capital city is Canberra. Largest city, of course, is Sydney, Australia. The land from down under, mate. Plus kangaroos are really cool animals to me for some reason. But I would love to go there. At number three is Italy. I would love to go to Italy. Probably because I love Italian food so much. But I would really love to try Italy pizza. And plus they have killer mustaches over there. So, wouldn't mind going to Italy. Capital city, of course, is Rome. Number two, Ireland. The reason I would love to go to Ireland, a lot of beautiful country and hillside. I have seen this. Capital city is Dublin. Yes, K-State and Iowa State play there week 0 too. So, great people it looks like. I would love to go over there and visit Ireland. Maybe go to a pub and have a brewski. But anyway, so that's number two. And finally, the number one country Jram would love to go visit, Scotland. I would love to go see Scotland. Another one that has a lot of nice country and hillside. Capital city is Edinburgh. I hope I said that right. Um, would love to go see this place. I would love to go see the countryside of Ireland. I mean, Scotland. Alright, so that is that. Alright, guys. Good show today. Longest show I've ever done. 1 whole hour. Alright, so we're going to close with a Bible verse. Program, little note. We will be Saturday, our normal show Saturday. I'm going to do, we'll finish up the NFL with the AFC and NFC West schedules. Plus, my SEC conference games to watch this fall and Big Ten conference games to watch this fall. And that'll put a wrap on that also. We've been doing conference games the last couple of weeks and non-con games. But, and Notre Dame. Can't forget Notre Dame. We'll do Notre Dame's schedule. We'll do UMass's schedule because we ain't done theirs. We did the other independents last week. And then we will do the AFC and NFC West schedules. And we'll have a non-football subject. We'll let you know what that is later this week. Guys, the season is fastly approaching. They can't come quick enough. So before we go, I got some comments. Oh, I got a comment. Scotland is a must-see. Gonna have my clan kilt there whenever I decide to visit. I agree with you there, Mr. Terry Walker. Yeah, I would love to see Scotland. Hopefully someday. Alright, guys, I appreciate y'all checking me out. Those of you who've been on here for a little while. We always close with a Bible verse. Psalm 34, verse 8. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. My trust is always in the Lord. My trust is in Jesus. I hope yours is too. Appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see y'all Saturday. Take care, and God bless.